What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at Lord Aristius Aydon. That's his full name here. On the side of the packaging, it just says Lord Aydon. But Aydon here looks really cool. I actually really like this character more and more that I've had a chance to read up on his backstory on the side of the card art. I think it's pretty cool that he's actually Queen Artemis's uncle, and after Queen Artemis, which we've already dove into her little backstory. After Queen Artemis's parents were killed, Lord Aydon here actually stepped up. This is actually Queen Artemis's uncle. He stepped up and raised Queen Artemis to the woman that she is today. Now, it says that his teachings are strict and this and that and the other thing, but it's only due to tough love, basically, is what they're getting at with his little backstory. I'll have you guys read the backstory for yourselves if you want to, but that's a quick little synopsis as to or generalization of his little backstory there. He's a pretty cool character, though. I actually like the little bit of extra details that they went to kind of differentiate him from the other elves that we've got in this wave. But he looks really cool. I'm very, very pleased with how he turned out. I feel like maybe this is another one of those figures that might be a hair underrated. But I digress. Taking a look at Lord Aydon here, he looks really cool. Or Aydon, excuse me. He looks really cool. I'm pretty pleased with everything that he comes with. His color scheme. I like the nice green metallic going throughout his body mixed with the black paint shading going throughout pretty much wherever you see green, there is black paint shading going throughout all of his shoulder armor, all of his both of his gauntlets, excuse me, even his elbow pads right there, or his elbow armor, excuse me. He even has some nice black shading for his hair right here, which looks really good, I think, for the most part. I like the nice braid in the back. It looks very nice. His little crown on the front, showing that he is a very regal character. Obviously, I'm willing to assume that since he was teaching Queen Artemis, he trained Queen Artemis, is what I'm assuming. But the nice black paint shading going throughout all of this looks really good. I'm very pleased overall with the paint applications with this wave. Very well done, very consistent. As you can see, all of his chain armor underneath, the under armor, whatever you would like to call it, looks really good. I like the boots, the armored boots and the knee pads look really just so well done. And like I said, there's black paint shading going throughout all of it, including the feet. I think this guy might be another one of my favorites, maybe another one of those unsung heroes. I really love this face sculpt. The face sculpt is one of my favorites, bar none. I love the, like I said, the crown in the front with the little antlers in the front. Looks really good. I like the scarring, and that's what I was getting to as far as giving a little bit of differentiation between characters, is giving him that little bit of scarring. I wonder what that scarring is from. Maybe Gorgo? Maybe got into a battle with Gorgo at one time. Who knows? Maybe Scapular. Who knows? I don't know. Malleus? I don't know. Let's we got to try and these are the cool little things when the Four Horsemen add little details in that. You can kind of maybe create your own little story as to how he got those scars. I consider those, now I'm going to call them those his Indiana Jones scars. You know how Indy had the scar on his chin? It was actually a real life scar from Harrison Ford. But yeah, I'll call that his Indiana Jones scar. So pretty cool. But you could probably make up a little backstory for that. I really like the face sculpt. The eyes look really well done. They're centered properly. He doesn't look ridiculous or derpy or anything like that. What else? The ears came out really well. All of the skin tones pretty consistent for the two sides of skin tone that you get between the neck and the head. It's consistent. The paint on the lips look really good. He just looks like he's definitely a guy that you want on your side while a big battle's going on, you know? All the brown paint right here is got a nice little wash to it. Looks really good. Let me just bring that in. As you can see, all the line work, the paneling for the armor. I really like the panel work and the little details that they threw in with this armor for this male body. Like I said, I love this hair sculpt. It looks so good with the braid in the back and then the little clasp for the braid, kind of keeping the braid in place. All of the detail work right here is very nicely done with the black where it's supposed to be. The buckles are silver. All the extra detail up here underneath the hair looks so well done. He doesn't come with any extra heads or anything like that, but he does come with a plethora of accessories. And but I just kind of want to get you to see all of this paintwork and detail early on in the review, because I'm really just kind of geeking over this guy a little bit more than I thought I was going to be honest with you. I like the copper tone right here for the legs. I think that looks really good. Up here too on the bicep over here looks really very well done. The green metallics really bring out that copper tone. It looks very good. And then with the brown and the gold mixed in with the gold studs and the gold crown, he just looks, he really does look the part, to be honest with you. I like the copper or I should say bronze. This is actually bronze. Maybe this is just metallic and it's giving off the copper look, because usually copper has kind of like a shine to it a little bit. Like when you see a penny or like a copper bar top or anything like that, it just gives off that copper look, but maybe it is an actual bronze. This looks more of like a matte bronze right here, but that looks good too. So to no avail. The color scheme on him is really well done. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a close-up look of all of the paint detail and everything. And here is the back of his legs again, as I've kind of shown a couple times. But just kind of drink it, as Chris Jericho would say, drink it in, man. You know, with the leather right here and the gold studs. Looks really good. Just so well done. I'm really actually warming up more and more to these body types, these smaller male body types, than I thought I was going to. Okay, as far as Lord Aydon's accessories go, these are all of his accessories minus the 2 belts that he did come with. I think everything works nicely here. Up first, we're going to take a look at his shield. This is a newly sculpted, newly tooled shield right here. I think it looks very good. Whether you have the weapons pack for the elves or whether you have the weapons pack for the vampires, it's pretty much the same sculpt, same molded weapons in that pack. They're just painted differently for each different type of race. Obviously, this is going to be for the elves. If you do have the weapons pack, obviously the weapons pack shield is going to be painted differently than Lord Aydon's here. As you can see here, this is completely different as far as color schemes go. So you're probably going to want to use your weapons pack for your Legion builders, stuff like that, or maybe a character of your own. But this is in particular to Lord Aydon, and he pretty much comes with an arsenal here. I'm not gonna lie, to be honest with you. The green looks really good. It's like a nice metallic green, a lighter metallic green, and then we have like a nice blue. It looks like a traditional flat blue for the little designs right here. Little, I don't know if these are technically would be rubies or anything like that, because it looks like more of a matte color. Then we have the gold, which is a nice shine to it. And you flip around to the back, and it's pretty much got the same type of shine to the back as well. And then we have his peg system right there. Next up is what we have. What we have here is what I like to refer to as the same old sword. It's a sword that we've been getting since Wave 1. It is nicely sculpted. nicely painted as well. The paint for the sword in general looks pretty good. The gold at the handle looks nice, and then we have a nice silver paint for the blade. Looks pretty good. Moving on to the next sword, it's pretty much the same type of gold and silver for the gold for the handle, and then the silver for the blade. Up next, we have his quiver. It looks really good. I've shown this quiver a couple times, but obviously different paint applications for this quiver. I like that they include all of the black paint shading going throughout in between the arrows there to give off that it's not just like lazily painted. And then we have for the feathers on the top of the arrows, we have some blue feathers, which looks really nice. And then some silver paint for the arrow shafts. I'll just call them that. The gold paint going throughout the rest of the quiver for the design looks really good. And the stitching, I almost want to call this stitching. It's kind of like where the seam would be, maybe. That's just my little... Maybe it's just a design, I don't know. But that's where I would assume a seam would be on each side. But the gold paint looks really good. So nicely done on the quiver. And last but not least, here is his bow. He comes with the larger sized bow. The Elf Ranger came with the smaller sized bow. It's nice that we got a plethora of different bows here, and they all include some string, which is, thank you for including string. I just can't say that enough. This is really nice. I'm really pleased with how this bow turned out. It's just a nice gold, pretty much throughout. There's no extra paint applications really on it. There is... up here is pretty much the string wrapped around, up here is pretty much the string just wrapped around the top of the bow, and then it brings down to the other side, and it's kind of taut. So it looks really good. This bow, the quiver, and I think that's it. This bow, the quiver, and the shield are all a part of the new weapons pack. Okay, as far as Lord Aydon's articulation does go, his head can swivel. Can swivel. It can do a full 360 rotation if you needed to, just to point that out. The head does look up about that far, a little bit past neutral. That's about neutral right there. And then his head can obviously look down about that far. It can tilt side to side, in case you needed it to. And let's see if we got some jive turkeys. We got a little jive turkey. That's about it. And then the arms go up. Obviously, this is... I always have the shoulder armor on for some... I always do that, and then I can't get the full range of motion. He is a little bit stiff in the joints, which is a good thing, but his arm can go up about that far, and then it can go down. It can do a full 360 rotation if you needed to. He does have a single bend at the elbow, a little bit more than 90 degrees. And then he does have a swivel at the elbow, He's a little stiff in his joints. He does have a gauntlet swivel. And then he has a wrist swivel, wrist hinge, which mirrors on the other side. Same articulation on the other side. He does have a diaphragm joint, which does pivot back and forth, does crunch forward and back, and it can swivel. So there's full range of motion with the diaphragm joint. The waist swivel does twist. He does have, he can do the splits about that far, so he's got his T-jointed style hips. And then they go forward. They go back nicely. Good range of motion in the legs. Upper thigh swivel. A single jointed knee. Once you bring the knee back up, you can get a swivel in the knee too. Swivel in the ankle. He does point the toe. Points the heel. Can swivel the heel, or swivel the ankle, and he does have ankle pivot and 2 peg holes at the bottom of his feet. Okay, as far as size comparisons go, we've got 2 Marvel Legends here. We've got Radioactive Man on the left on the Hyperion body mold, and we have Multiple Man on the Bucky Cat body mold. Okay, next up, we've got a WWE Elite figure in Shawn Michaels on the left, and then we have a DC Universe Classics Hawkman on the right. Okay, and lastly, we have a Motu Classics in Vicor on the left, And then we have Sir Gideon Heavensbrand from the Mythic Legions action figure line. As far as him holding onto his weapons and everything, he does hold everything fine. The shield, now he can hold on to the shield, but the issue that I have here is that the weight of this shield and how long it is, too, kind of throws off the center of gravity for the wrist, and it wants to keep pulling the wrist back, and I'll just show you what I mean here. Once you peg it in, like I said, he can hold onto it, but it wants to kind of keep dropping down. It doesn't want to hold its place, as you can see there. I mean, it just keeps doing that over and over, and it makes the wrist joint even more and more loose. It also spreads out these hands quite a bit, where you have to kind of get them, you kind of have to teach them to go back in. So what I do is I just kind of set it between the wrist, or the gauntlet, and kind of use pressure here. It doesn't put any extra pressure on that. It stays fine in his hand. I haven't had any issues with anybody dropping their shields or anything like that. It just fits better like this for these smaller bodies. Now, if you want to use this peg system for some of the newer, or the older bodies, like Sir Gideon Heavensbrand and the 1.0 bodies, then you can do that. Because they actually hold on to that peg a lot better because their hands are larger. The wrists are a little bit stronger. They're not as loose, as these smaller wrists tend to become a little bit more loose once you put some more weight in it. That's just something I wanted to note. But he can hold all of his weapons fine. The only thing that he can't really do is, I've kind of really had to work with these, is drawing back his bow. But you can use trick photography or camera manipulation to kind of get him to look like he's pulling his bow back. So it's not the biggest deal in the world. As far as his packaging does go, it's pretty self-explanatory as far as the single-carded releases go. There's the front of the packaging. It says Mythic Legions down below. Has the Four Horsemen logo over here on the side. And then it says the .coms, where you can all reach your Mythic Legions figures and information and whatnot. Here's the back of the card artwork. It looks pretty good. Very pleased with how that turned out. We've got Artemis, we've got Faunus, and Joe Runshaper. On the side here, we have the clan logo. Looks really cool. And then on the other side, we have a picture of Lord Aydon. And there is Lord Aydon's read up. If you can pause it, you can read it. Okay, so my final thoughts on Lord Aydon, and this is, I just kind of wanted to do this pose just so you guys can see that I can prove my point as far as him two-handing a sword on the smaller bodies. The females can do it too, also. But there he is two-handing a sword from one of the weapons packs. It's from the Elf weapons pack. So that's pretty cool. I'm probably going to have him displayed like this with this nice big Elvian broadsword. But there it is, just to prove my point. But my final thoughts on Lord Aydon is definitely a 2 thumbs up. Let me get my other thumb in there. 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend. Definitely go get him. I think he's one of the key players that you want to get. Another one of the key players out of the many in this wave. There's a lot of very important characters in this wave, I think, if you're going to continue collecting these. If you're whether you're a diehard or you're just a casual fan or collector of this line, I think this might be one of them that you might want to get. And I gotta say, it's going to be kind of a toss-up between, if you're having to choose between the Elf Ranger or this guy, I don't know, I might go with this guy. I just think I like his backstory. It's nice that he has a backstory. And while the Elf Ranger does look a lot like Legolas, having a new character with a pretty cool backstory, he looks like a real deal warrior, and I just really dig that about him. And God knows how old he is, because he's an elf, and he's older than Artemis, and he doesn't even have gray hair yet. So, but he's really awesome. Definitely a recommend from top to bottom. I love everything that he comes with. The only thing that I would have improved on this figure would have been including this nice broadsword from the Elf weapons pack, excuse me. But everything else from top to bottom works with him. I love the shield he comes with. Both the swords work. The bow and the quiver work perfectly. It's nice that he came with 2 belts, so you can use one as a regular belt, one as a bandolier. I love the paint apps on him. The sculpt works. No quality control issues. Love that head sculpt, and I love the little bit of Indiana Jones scarring that he's got there. I'm not saying it looks just like Indiana Jones scarring, but you get my point. It's a nice little characteristic for him. Looks pretty cool. The eyes look good on him. Love that crown. It's very nicely done. And yeah, definitely 2 thumbs up. Go pick him up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the bell for notifications until you see 2 little parentheses hanging over the bell. Hit the like button if you like the content and you want to see more. And I'll see you guys on the flip side.